I was out doing some stuff in the garden. Looks like I got 7 in the house. That's one reason it's so hard for me to schedule lives, because I've got so much to do in the garden, in the house, and everywhere else. And I got ant bit. I had to stop and rub some ant stuff, that anti-itch on me. Oh, I just got out of the shower, y'all. But I got to get the settings up so I can get my chat up, because it keeps fading out on the camera, so it's impossible for me to read the chat. So just bear with me a minute. Whew. Get my ads to go in here. And I tried to put some of you in as moderators. I don't know if I got the correct names or not, because when I typed in your name as it appeared in my chat to put you in as a moderator, a whole list of people with the same name came up. So I don't know who I've got in and who I don't. We'll just have to see tonight how many people show up as moderators. Whew. Y'all, I was out at Home Depot this afternoon picking up some manure to go in the garden, because I'm out of mulch and stuff. I mean, not mulch, but compost. I'm not able to get out there and turn that compost pile, so it doesn't do what it's supposed to do fast enough. So I had to go buy some cheap bags of manure to put to my garden. Well, it doesn't look like I've got Kimberly. And you said you wanted to be a moderator. I'm going to have to sign back in just long enough, I guess, to make you a moderator, because that's the only way I know to do it. Because like I said, I had your names written down on a sheet of paper, and I tried to enter you just like it was, and there was a whole list of people that came up. There, I've got you in as a moderator, Kimberly. Your name should come up in blue or some other color from now on. And I'll have to add the rest of them as they come in. I know Donna's already one. Her name is in blue. But Kimberly, the next time you type something in the comment, your name should show up in blue. And that means you're a moderator. And I just lost my chat. Where'd it go? I should have done this the other night when I was writing your names down. I should have just went ahead and signed in and put your names in as moderator. See, there you go, Kimberly. Now you're a moderator. So, and I've got probably 5 or 6 more people that wanted to be moderators, like Jana, Rodney, Teresa. I entered all of those in as moderators, but I did you as well, Kimberly. And when you came in tonight, Your name didn't show up in blue till I just entered it. But I can't stay signed in on the chat. I've got to get off. So we'll see what happens when the other people come in. But I got to sign back out for right now. Oh, and I just hit the wrong button. Oh, what's going on? There, I just signed out. Oh, and I'm still scratching this finger. I was doing my garden video and I was touching a eggplant and I noticed there was ants on it. And before I knew it, I had an ant on my finger. And before I could get him off, he bit me. But I did. Sorry about that, y'all. But I did not have a mask on outside, so I'm going to cough. Can't help it. But at least I've got, hey Gladys. She's in for a minute until her pad cuts off. Well, I'm glad you made it for this long. Maybe you'll be in here longer than you think, hopefully. Maybe your pad will cooperate with you tonight. So I've got three moderators in here so far. 21 people watching, 4 thumbs up. Yeah, I went in my shed to get that pepper spray that I had cooked in the pot that time and strained. And it got so hot in the shed that milk jug that I had washed out and put that pepper spray in, it split. And I ended up with jalapeno pepper spray everywhere in the floor, in the tray. A little bit of it was left in the jug, so I poured it in the trays, the 2 dish pans where I had those hot pepper plants in that the bugs kept eating. And that's the only time that my peppers started growing. I poured that hot pepper spray in each pan. And I said, well, if there's bugs in the dirt that's eating my plants, even though I don't see them, maybe the hot pepper spray will deter them away. And I guess it did, because all of a sudden my pepper plants started growing. I mean, they destroyed several of them already. But I've only got about 1/3 of the pepper plants growing right now that I planted, because the bugs ate the rest of them. I don't know what it was this year. Those bugs, they were devouring my peppers. They didn't seem to be bothering any of the other plants, but the bell pepper and the hot peppers, they were eating those as fast as I could transplant them. Here's Tamara Angling. Hello, Tamara. Martha Berry's in the house. Hi from North Georgia. Well, hello to you, Martha. Don't want to chafe, but Thank you. Anyway, my pad is real old like me. Well, we're all getting up there, so don't feel bad. I mean, I'm up there too, so I'm a little rusty around the edges too, Gladys. Try factory reset. There's Pat Watson. Hello, Pat. I'm trying to recruit moderators. Martha, are you and Pat interested in being a moderator for my channel to help keep these trolls out of the chat? I mean, even if you're a moderator, you're not expected to be here all the time, every chat, just whenever you can. But I like to ask because sometimes people don't want to. It don't want to cooperate, Gladys. It's old like you. Well, I was hoping I could go live from my laptop because I bought a new laptop and it was supposed to have a fantastic camera. But every time I went and used that camera, it has the terrible picture. It's all cloudy and dark. You're not savvy. Well, if you'll go to the right-hand side of the screen where your name is, you'll see 3 little dots. As a moderator, all you have to do is click on those dots. And I'm not signed in, so it's not going to open for me. But all you have to do if you want to time somebody out, if they're leaving bad remarks, is click on that time, or click on their name, click on the dot next to their name and put them in timeout. And you can put them in timeout for ever how long you want. Usually I put them in timeout for 24 hours. That way they can't come back into the chat that night. Or you can hide them from the channel. That's even better because they'll come in. I get credit for the view, but they think they're being seen and they're not. But I'll have to sign back in to put anybody in. Because like I've said, I wrote down a whole list of names of people that wanted to be a moderator. And when I went in to type their name in, a whole list of names come up identical to theirs. So I didn't know which one they were. And I think I just entered the first one that I came to, hoping it was them, but I already see that it was not Kimberly, because I entered her just a few minutes ago. One thing I've planted in my garden yesterday was scallions. I think I've planted 2 tubs of scallions. And I'm going to put a couple of winter squash out there, I think. Because if you want winter squash, right now is the time to plant the seed. You can direct sow it. And by the time it comes up and start producing, it should be cooled off. And guess what? This time of year, the squash borers won't bother your plants. Are you a new subscriber, Martha? Because you said you said hi from North Georgia. Or maybe, it seemed like the name's familiar. I think you've been a subscriber before. And my chat freezes up on this laptop. I don't know why. Because it's delayed behind the camera. Somebody mentioned we should have a pajama party. The only thing is, unless you take a picture of yourself and email it to me, I'm not going to know what y'all look like in your PJs. You'll be able to see me, but I won't be able to see you. So you might not even be in your PJs, and I am, and the whole world's going to see me. It's pretty big. I mean, I've got stuff planted on this side of the backyard, directly behind the house in that backyard, and then on that side I've got stuff planted. I mean, it's not extremely big, and I've got everything planted in totes and pots and raised beds. There's Christina Humphrey. Hello, Christina. Girl, I'm in mine already. Oh, really? You're in your garden? Oh, your PJs is what you're talking about. Well, I'm glad you're back, Martha. Glad to see you're doing better. Well, I'm not in my PJs yet. I just slipped on this little sundress when I got out of the shower because I was just drenched in sweat. It was so hot outside. When I went out to Home Depot, my thermometer on my car registered 106. And here at almost 8:30, it's still 93, 94 degrees. We usually have our first frost or freeze like the second week in November. So I've got August, September, October, November. I've got about 3.5 months. If I get my seeds in the ground tomorrow. If you get them in the ground this month in July. And July is almost gone. It's been running nonstop, Martha. It turns on at 1 o'clock during the day, and it doesn't turn off until about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it just runs constantly. It's so hot outside. I got to reseal the windows. I think that will help. Yep, we still have August to go too, and that's when, July and August are the two hottest months. Chill says, who else's PJs are their underwear? Well, I tell you what, if I don't have AC on and it's hot, my PJs are my underwear because that's the only thing I can put on. It's too hot to wear PJs. Linda, is there a Big Daddy out there? Linda knows my address. No, I don't know a Big Daddy. I mean, that AC is running right now. It hasn't turned off since about 1 o'clock in the middle of the day. Kimberly says I got my granny gown on. Well, sometimes I'll wear a little, it's almost like a gown. It's a sundress, but it's so comfortable because it's that stretchy, I don't know what you call it, stretchy stuff that's so comfortable. And most of the time I'll sleep in that because it's just knee length. Some of them I wear out, but there's 1 or 2 of them that I don't like the way they look on me, so I just sleep in them. I've turned them into my nightgown. Oh, that tea is so good. Oh, you and me both, Kimberly. Mine was $175 last month. Or in fact, I've got it here. I haven't even paid it yet. No, it was $241 this time. that I've got the bill to pay right here. So it'll hit $300 next time, I'm sure. And my Spectrum bill went up to $183. So that's over $400 right there in just two bills to pay. And then I found out when I called HealthSpring and complained about my plan for Medicare, I told him it went up so much. I said, it's ridiculous. I said, you're counting the prescription plan and the 20% that Medicare doesn't plan. You're charging as much as Medicare charges, and they pay 80%. I said, it's getting out of hand. And they said, well, unfortunately, yours is going up again. I said, you're kidding me. They said, no, your plan is going to go up the 1st of September. And he said, let me check and see what it's going up to. He checked and he said, your plan is going up to $289.10 starting in September. And that's just for the 20% Medicare doesn't pay. And then I pay another $70 a month for the prescription coverage. So, I mean, I'm saving a little because my blood pressure pills are, I get them for like 2 or 3 months at a time. And that would probably run about $600 or $700 for that. And I only pay like $5 when I pick them up. So that $70 is a lot, but I'd be paying even more if I had to pay out of pocket for those blood pressure pills. So what can you do, y'all? They used to give us a break. The government let you pick out one utility bill. It could be your cable TV. It could be your electric bill. Any utility bill that you have, you could pick one bill and they would pay $25 a month toward. Well, guess what? Here last year, they cut that out. The government's not giving us that anymore. So I had it on my, I think on my cable TV bill, you know, my internet and stuff. So that went up $25 because they didn't give the discount anymore. And now, that alone is $183.61. And guess what? Years ago, when cable TV first moved to Granbury, I started out getting cable TV and internet for $19.99 a month. And now I'm paying $183.61. Yeah, but like I said, Chill, they cut it out. They don't give you that $25 discount on any of the bills anymore. It stopped. So right now, I'm paying, let's see, I'll be paying 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's like $325 for Medicare now. So I'm going to be paying $700 a month just for Medicare health, you know, prescription coverage, and the 20% Medicare don't pay. I'll be paying $700 a month just for that. That's going to take a whole check right there. I mean, that's almost my whole retirement check right there in Medicare and supplement plan and prescription plan. That's just outrageous. Seniors should get those for free. And there's Dave Venturely, hello. I read they was wanting to cut some Medicare and Medicaid, but the Supreme Court stopped it. But I'm afraid they can't keep blocking that. Yeah, they're going to keep charging us more and paying for less, I'm afraid. I mean, we'll all have to move to Canada where their health care is free. The only problem with that is If you want to go to the doctor or get something major done, you got to make an appointment and you got to be put on a waiting list. And if you got a surgery that needs to be done, you may have to be on that list for a year before you get your surgery done. But it's free when you get it. I mean, it's just the fact that you got to wait. You can't go in and schedule it right away like we do, that's covered under insurance or something. From Tampa, Florida. Yeah, I bet it's hot in Florida right now. Canada is banning United States people. What do you mean they're banning United States people? They're not letting people into Canada or what? But that's what I've heard. There is a lot of countries just like Panama. I watched this couple that are building a home in Panama. They have a YouTube channel. And they say that the medical coverage is free there. You go to the doctor, it doesn't cost anything. You go to the hospital, it doesn't cost anything. But I've heard that Canada's was free, but you could be on a year's waiting list to get any procedure done. No, it's no free. We pay out the nose taxes, but we wait so long we will die from it and are offered Medicaid, medical assistance in dying. Oh no. Yeah, I said there's good and bad and everything. It might be free, but you may not be able to go get it when you need it to save your life. So what good is it, Anything can be free, but if you don't have access to it, it's not going to do you any good. Just like here, you go to the hospital, if you don't have X amount of dollars, or if you don't have insurance, they don't want to admit you. And it's against their profession as a hospital or doctors or anything. They take an oath that they don't discriminate. They have to treat everyone. It doesn't matter whether you have money, insurance or not. They're still legally bound to treat you. But these hospitals will surely want to turn you away. Now, the time I went and when I was assaulted and I was taken to the emergency room and I was in dire pain. I couldn't even straighten my legs out. I was laying on the emergency room cot with my legs drawn up because I couldn't straighten out. My lower back was out. And if I tried to straighten my legs, I was screaming in pain. And the cop walked up to me and he asked me, he said, why have you got your legs drawn up like that? I said, because it's hurt. It hurts too bad to straighten my legs out. I said, this is the only way I can lay and not be in pain. And he went and I heard him talking to the nurse. He got on the nurse and wanted to know why they didn't give me any pain meds. And they said, because she had no money and she has no insurance. And he told her, he said, it doesn't matter whether she's got money or insurance. She doesn't need it. She's an assault victim. She said, we have the assaultee in custody. He is going to be paying her bill. So he said, you give her anything she needs and you better do it now. And she needs pain medication. Guess what? That nurse came in there and gave me pain medication. And by the time the cop got ready to leave the emergency room, he took me with him to the police station and I walked out of there in no pain. I was all black and blue. My face was bloody and swelled up and, it was terrible. But I said, that's the way they'll do. They admitted me to the emergency room, but they weren't going to give me any treatment. They were not going to give me any pain meds because I didn't have insurance. They wanted their money. Kitty's fine. He just went out. He wanted outside. He's been in most of the day, but it's cooled off a little bit out there now, so he wanted to go outside. He likes being outside, but when it's too hot, he wants to stay in the house, and I don't blame him. I can't imagine how the cats, all the fur, and the dogs with all that fur, how they bear it in the heat. But I know their body temperature is different than ours. Yeah, they take an oath that they can't turn people away. They can't turn people down. They've got to treat them. And she gave me the bed. They put me in there. But they weren't going to give me anything because I didn't have insurance. I didn't have the money to pay for it. He set her straight. He said, she's not the one that's paying this bill. He said, the guy we got locked up is. He's the one that assaulted her. So she came in there and gave me some pain meds, and I didn't hurt after that. Like I said, my AC is running. It's been running constantly since 1 o'clock this afternoon. When it hits close to 100 degrees, my AC kicks on and it does not turn off till about 10 o'clock. It stays on running just like it is right now until it starts cooling off outside, and then it'll cut off and come back on. So I can't imagine what my next electric bill is going to be. It'll be $300 at least, if not more. Kimberly says, I have UK friends and they say there's only so many a day they take for doctor visits and then they quit answering. I believe it's called, like Canada. And there's Frida. Hey, Frida. How's Frida doing? $300. Yeah, it'll be at least $300 or more. Because right now it's getting into the hottest time of the 2 months. And my next electric bill will probably be the highest one I'll have, which will be at least $300. And like I said, this one is, how much did I say it was? $241. I mean, you see it right there. I guess you can see it. I don't know. It's not focusing in very well. Well, I don't know where to hold it to. But it's $241. And it's due by the 6th of August. And then my Spectrum bill went up to $183. So one of my whole checks each month, whether it's YouTube or my Social Security, goes in to paying electric, cable, water bill. They took $225 out of my account every month for the supplement plan to Medicare that only pays 20%, $225 a month. And like I said, they told me in September it's going up to $289.10. See if you have Infinity Essentials in Texas. What is that, Kimberly or Christina? Frida says 112. And there's Tamara Douglas, hello. Frida said my bill is 186. So you see, this extreme heat is doing a number on people's electric bills, everything. And it's time for me to fill my gas tank up too, my propane. So that's going to be $300 or $400 right there. I don't know where the money's going to come from. I've got till the end of the month to order my propane. They sent me a card. But you got to do a fill, and they always want me to wait till my tank gets just a little below 50%. And then if I do that, they don't charge me the $70 or $80 delivery fee that they want to tag on to it. They waive that and just charge me for the gas that they delivered because I have such a big tank. You know, I usually get 150 to 200 gallons at a time. And at $2.99.9 a gallon, that runs into quite a bit of money. And see, that's not even my car insurance. My car insurance was $108. That was due the 11th that I paid it already, but it'll be due again in another 2 weeks. I think Medicare went up to like 3 something. James's pills. Infinity Essentials. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of Infinity Essentials. You'll have to explain to me what that is. No, I don't qualify for Medicaid. Because I had Medicaid at one time, went back years ago when I was going through chemotherapy because they had me on disability because I couldn't be out in public. It knocked out my immune system. And with my back and neck problem, they put me on disability. But, you know, I could not live on that disability check. It was not enough to keep my bills paid and to pay for maintenance and stuff that I needed. And I don't even have a house or car payment. This is just utilities, car insurance, house insurance, your food. They did give me food stamps, but then they took those away when I went off of disability and I started getting my regular Social Security, but the check was the same thing. So I had to go to YouTube to try to bring in more money to have enough to keep my bills paid. And now the bills keep going up and up and up. So it's almost like it's a losing battle. Google it now. Well, let me see what I can do. Copy. Well, I don't think the right thing came up. Because this is all stuff about the internet. Infinity Essentials for seniors, that's probably what it is. No, but it's saying check internet. I don't check internet availability today. It takes me to something I don't need to be looking at. Infinity Senior Pricing. So it's like an internet service for seniors. Yeah, I'll check that out later. I don't want to be... I just Googled it, Christina. It's an internet service for $14.95 a month, and I have it. Is it high-speed internet, or what is it? It's not very much. I may have to do that. I mean, $14.95 a month compared to $183 a month sure sounds good. But that's just your internet, isn't it? It's not your TV or anything. But I usually watch movies on the internet anyway. Yeah, I found that. I'll check it out more after the live is over. But I didn't know about that before. Let me write it down so I don't forget the name. If I can find my pen. Oh. Infinity. Xfinity. Essentials. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. Because I've been thinking about dropping cable and all that, just keeping the internet. But just the internet alone with Spectrum is about $80 or $90 a month. Yeah, it's almost like these, and everyone I call, and of course they say, well, the cost to the company has went up, and when that goes up, it trickles down to the customers and their prices go up. I said, yeah, I know that. That's what all of the companies are saying. The water company, electric company, sanitation, the gas company, whatever company out there sends you a bill every month tells you the same thing. Frida said, the seed did come. Oh, okay, you got the seed today. Well, that's good. I have $15 internet and couldn't get a good signal. Couldn't run my security cameras either. Oh, really? Well, that doesn't sound good because I've got security cameras. It is internet for low income. Well, see, I've got to have the internet for my cameras and my internet for my YouTube videos, and I can't have that really slow because you'd never get your videos uploaded. Yeah, I never usually watch regular TV. Even when I'm watching the television, I'm on the YouTube channel. I'll watch my movies on YouTube. Because I find better movies on YouTube than I do the regular channels. Sorry to say. Yeah, I have to have the high speed too. Because I can't wait all day to upload a video. And I think my internet is 4 and 5 gig now. Because I know I used to have to try to upload videos on the real slow speed, and oh, it took forever. And sometimes it would drop before it would upload, and I'd have to start all over. And I called and complained about it, and they did something, and all of a sudden my videos were uploading faster, and it showed that I had 4 and 5 gig. At different times of the day. Usually it's 5. But I was already paying for all of that and I didn't have it. Yeah, I watch YouTube and pay $15 a month for my internet, and I have my cameras, everything on them. Oh, wow. Well, I have to check that out. And that's through that Xfinity Essentials. You think Xfinity is regional? I don't know. I didn't even know it was out there, but I'm going to check on it. I mean, I got off of disability myself because I forced myself to go back to work on any job that I could work on right here in Granbury. I said I didn't want to drive to Fort Worth, because I couldn't live on that disability check. I was by myself here paying all my own bills, everything, and I could not survive on that small little disability check. So I forced myself to go back to work, and then after I turned, I think 62, 63, Social Security called me and they said, if it's all right with you, since you're working we're going to go ahead and switch you from disability to regular retirement Social Security. And they did that, but the check was the same. And they took my food stamps away from me, so I don't get that. And I was getting about $183 or close to $200 a month food stamps. They took that because they said, well, you're getting a retirement check now. I said, yeah, I am, but it's not any more than the disability check was, not a dime more. But they took my food stamps anyway. But that was the only time I was on them, was for that short period of time when I was going through chemo and all that at the cancer center. But I have a real good signal now, and I can upload my videos pretty fast. But I can't go back to a real slow speed because, oh God, it'd take all day to upload a video. I pay $40 a month for my phone, $14.95 for internet through Xfinity. I'm disabled and on Social Security. Well, I pay, I think it's $40 a month for my unlimited Straight Talk plan with my cell phone. And that's what I do all my videos with, is my phone, my cell phone, my camera. And before, I was paying AT&T over $100 a month for a cell phone that you couldn't even get on the internet with. And they swore that I had been upgraded. I said, well, you may have upgraded me and started charging me more on your records, but I still got the same old phone I've always had, and I can't even send a text message with it. And they argued. They said, well, you got a new phone. I said, no, I don't. I never got a new phone. So finally, I just got disgusted with them. I canceled my plan with AT&T, and I bought me a Straight Talk. Well, it's not a Straight Talk phone, but you can get on the Straight Talk plan with it. I got my Android phone at Walmart's Black Friday sale one Christmas. And the second year I got another one. No, 2 years after that I got another one. But they're both Android phones. They take great videos. That's what I do all my videos with. I'm on that camera right now on my live. You see how plain the picture is. And I pay about $40 a month for everything on my phone. Unlimited data, unlimited texting, unlimited internet, unlimited everything. Unlimited calling. Well, I can't call other countries now with my phone. You know, I'd have to upgrade my plan. But I can call anywhere in the United States and I think Canada or Hawaii on the plan. Unlimited. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. I may be wrong. I know. I mean, they argued with me and said, well, you upgraded your phone. I said, no. You may have upgraded my plan in your records, but I don't have a new phone. I've got the same old phone I've always had. If you don't believe me, I can take it out and show it to you. I hated that phone. Well, that's what I used to do, Christina, and watch Linda, but it was using data and not Wi-Fi. That's why I was so glad to get on Straight Talk, because all of their plans are basically unlimited everything. And you can upgrade your plan and get the highest speed of internet that you can get. You can get unlimited calling in other countries if you want it. But I don't call out of the country. I don't call out of the United States, so it wouldn't pay me to have all that and have to pay for it. I was so glad to get rid of that AT&T phone. And then, I take that back. I could text message with it, but it was so hard. Your screen was so tiny you could barely see what you were typing. And it was so difficult to type in letters with the phone. And get this, they were charging me 99 cents for every text message that I sent and every text message that I received. And I said, oh no, this is not going to work. I said it'd be different if you could at least send a decent text message, but I couldn't even do that. But I got rid of it. I don't ever intend to get them back. They're trying to get me to go with, what is it? The electric company, United Co-op, has internet too now. And they're offering free phones for the first year service. And then after that, it's like $40 a month. And they say, well, you at least save a whole year on your phone. Yeah, but I said, then I'm afraid it's going to go up to some astronomical price, even though it starts out at 40, that I'm not going to want. And I'll end up right back with Straight Talk anyway. Yeah, I don't owe anything on my phone. I paid cash for my phone when I bought it. Because like I said, I went to the Walmart Black Friday sales and they had phones on the Black Friday. You had to get a bracelet. You had to get in line if you wanted a phone. You got a bracelet that shows that you reserved your phone. And then you had to be back at the store at a certain time that evening. I think it was 6 or 7 o'clock. And get in line again and get your phone. But you had to have the bracelet to get the phone. And I had my bracelet. And that was the year I bought my TV as well. I had a bracelet for my TV and a bracelet for my phone. That way, see, if you got your bracelet, they couldn't give out that phone or that TV to anyone else. As long as you had a bracelet to show yours was reserved, you got it if you were there to get it. They give you $20 discount. Who gives you a $20 discount? Xfinity or who? I need a new phone, though. My phone is coming apart. But I said with the price of upgraded phones, I guess I'm going to use this one as long as I can. To buy another phone just like I've got is about at least $200 or more. And I don't even want to spend that much. Especially not to get the same phone I got now. I'd at least want to upgrade it a little bit. AT&T is a phone service that's been around since the beginning of time almost. Almost the beginning of telephone services. You had AT&T back when you had a dial desk phone in your house. Well, I found the Xfinity you're talking about. The Essentials. So I can check it out later. I got the name written down with the price and everything. It was AT&T that gave you the $20 discount. Yeah, I remember Bell South, but I don't think I was ever on it. Bell South, I think, were the ones that sent out your telephone books. Wasn't it Bell South? That would send out new telephone books about once a year? Most companies don't even do that anymore because you can't find people's phone number because most people today have cell phones and they don't have phone books for cell phones. If you're not given somebody's cell phone number, you don't have it. Yeah, I fell in love with the Straight Talk plans. I'll never go to anything else. And the Android phones have already given me fantastic service. And I'll probably stick with the Android phones as well. They have new phone option at Xfinity, and also you can keep your own phone. Yeah, it was Ma Bell. I remember when they called it Ma Bell. You forgotten about phone books, Donna? Frida said, I got something $10. Yeah, I was with Southwestern Bell many years ago back home, I think. It was AT&T out here. And they had a red phone in the house, a wall phone, and they left it when they moved out, the people I knew that used to live here. A red phone. And I never thought anything about a red phone, but until I had a phone repair guy come in check the lines one day. He saw the red phone. He said, hey, where'd you get that phone? I said, it was in the house when we moved in. I said, the people that used to live here left us the phone. They said, well, I don't know where they got that phone. It's illegal for private people, private residents to have the red phones. They're only for companies and the president. And he didn't do anything about it. He left the phone. But later on, I think when I discontinued the service with AT&T, they said that I had to bring the phone in. I said, what do you mean I got to bring the phone in? It's my personal phone. It doesn't belong to you. They said, because you're not allowed to have a red phone. So I took it in. I said, well, I'm not going to use it anyway. I'm not going to have your service anymore, and I'm not going to have a wall phone. That's, later when I went to cell phones and I didn't need it. I mean, I had plenty of phones I could plug in to the service I went to. But they insisted I bring that phone in because it was illegal for a private resident to have a red phone. Information used to be 411. Yeah. It's 911 now. Well, the information may be still 411. I don't know. But the emergency is 911. Would the kids today know how to use? Probably not. They'd look at a rotary phone and say, what is that? They'd pick it up and expect to speak into it and it dial for them or something. They wouldn't know how to use a keypad. I've seen videos on that where they've taken teenagers and put them in a room with a landline phone, that you had to actually dial the numbers. And they'd tell them that they needed to make a phone call. And they'd say, well, we don't have a phone. And they said, yeah, there's a phone on the table. Dial it out. They didn't have a clue as how to dial a number on that rotary phone or one that you had punch buttons on. I've got 2 of them in the closet. I've kept them. Well, I've got a landline up here. It's a push button phone, but it's like an office phone that I keep up here, and it works. I've got 2 princess style phones in the bedroom, but they're in the closet. I just stuck them there. I said, well, I don't need them, but they're there if I ever need to plug in a phone, I guess. Because, with my plan, with my internet service, my TV, and my phone, it's a bundle. And they say to get out of the bundle, my internet would cost me probably double what it's costing me now. But I got in it when I got all 3 of them for $79 or $69 a month. And over the years, it gradually went up and up and up and up. And now it's $183 a month for the bundle. But they said you're still getting it cheaper than you would if you got rid of that phone, the phone service, and it went up to the everybody else is paying. And I said, well, I don't want to do that. I don't know if you noticed, but my AC just cut off. and it's 3 minutes after 9. So you know it's cooled down outside. And they're still issuing a heat advisory. Frida's got to go. She's saying good night, everyone. Well, good night, Frida. Glad you could stop by. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. We'll see you on the next time. Or the next live we have. Information was $1. My mom said, don't call information. Everything you dialed cost an individual price. Every call you made, you were charged by the minute you were on that phone. Information you paid for. The only way you could use a phone and you didn't pay for it is if you called someone collect and they accepted the charges. Then they were billed for it, but you weren't. Yeah, I was going to get rid of the house phone too, but the landline, because I didn't need it after using the cell phone. But they told me, well, you're going to keep your bundle a lot cheaper to have your internet service by keeping the landline, because at the time I kept it, it was only $19 a month. And it got my internet and my TV price way down low. Because I've heard people complain that they're paying over $300 a month for their internet and TV right now. So I feel fortunate that mine's only $183, which is way too much for me. And they congratulate you for being a great customer. Yeah, the more your bill goes up, the better they like it, because the more money they make off of you. You have 2 units going. Well, I have a 3-ton AC unit that was going. It's central air, so it cools the whole house. And it actually runs cheaper than the window unit used to. But I'd have to keep the window unit going. It kept the kitchen real cool because it's in the kitchen window. But then I'd have to put fans out to blow the air to each end of the house, to circulate it. So my central air works a lot better, and it's cheaper to run than the window unit was. But that window unit that I started out with here, it was a 12,000 BTU window unit. It was a big AC unit. It would freeze you out of the kitchen. And there's Donna Gallarino. Hi, Linda. It's Diana, I'm sorry. From Buffalo, New York. I'm retired 411 information operator. I worked for which is now Verizon for 25 years. Well, that's who my cell service is through, Verizon. That's where Straight Talk, gets their service through. So it's Verizon on a Straight Talk plan. And I have no problem with it. I get great service. So I have no reason to switch. And there's Shatika. Good evening, Shatika. Glad you could stop by. Pat Watson said that they have Verizon. Yeah, and I use my phone in North Carolina on the trips that I go on. When I go on one, I don't go very often. I haven't been to North Carolina in a couple of years now. But I get great phone service even back there with my phone. Now, there's one spot in my brother's house that you can't dial your phone. You got to go outside the house. Go out on the porch and you can dial out. The same way where my mom used to live when she was alive. Her house, I couldn't dial out with my cell phone in her house. I had to literally get out, walk out toward the street, and then I got great cell service. And I talked to the company about it, and they said that is because where my mom's house was, she's in what they call a dead zone. But she had a landline, so it didn't, bother her. She could call anywhere, anytime she wanted. But the cell service wouldn't work inside her house because they said you had to walk so far out toward the street to get out of that dead zone to be able to pick up the tower. Yeah, I've got internet, text. I can watch videos. I can do anything I want to on my phone. Unlimited everything. And it's like I told everybody, my Straight Talk phone, my Android phone, my A53 is what it is. I do all my videos on it. I'm on it right now. The live is through my cell phone. Straight Talk plan. It's unlimited. And it's $40 a month. I mean, that's the only way to go, is to get a plan that's unlimited. Then you don't worry about how many texts you send. You don't worry about how many phone calls you make. I mean, I don't make that many phone calls because I don't have that many people to call except family, and I'm not going to call them every day. I used to call my mom about every day, but she was real bad off. You know, she wasn't very well. And there the last couple of years, I called her quite often because I'm 1,200 miles away from where she lived, and I didn't get to see her. So I would pick up the phone and call her. But I didn't worry about it. The phone was unlimited. Yeah, if anybody has a phone where they're charged by the minute or they're charged for using data, I suggest you get on an unlimited Straight Talk plan. It is the only way to go. Yep, with Straight Talk, you have internet, text, phone. Your data everything is included. Your videos, I upload my videos from my camera, from my phone. I mean, I can't afford these $1,000 and $2,000 iPhones that people have that pay $300 a month just to use them. I can't afford that. Like I said, I bought this Android phone, A53, at one of Walmart's Black Friday sales. And I got it for like $159 when it was like over $300 original cost at the time. So I thought, you know, I've got my money's worth out of this phone. And the first was an A10 that I got, Android phone. It was fantastic, only it just didn't have hardly any memory. I think I had 32 gig of memory, where this one's got 128. And I've been looking at phones that have even more than that, like 258 or something like that. But the more memory you get in it, the larger your price. You remember when 3 mile distance was a long distance phone call? Yeah, now nationwide is local. Yeah, times have changed, and some things have changed for the better. My phone service has definitely changed for the better. Maybe one day internet will turn that way. And my phone, you know, I can switch it to hotspot. Whatever they call it. I think it's hotspot, where you can pick up cell signals, internet Wi-Fi signals from other places. Yeah, I remember when my mom and dad had a phone on the wall at home. We were on a party line when we first got it. That means you had like 5 other families on that same line. So sometimes if you wanted to make a phone call, you picked up the phone and went to dial it, you knew to listen first. Because a lot of times one of those other 4 people might be on the phone. So you pick it up, you listen, And if there's nobody talking, you hear a dial tone, you knew you could dial your number. But sometimes when you picked it up and listened, you heard a conversation. So you knew to hang up the phone because other people were using the line. And it didn't stay like that too long. I mean, it was like that for a year or so until they ran more lines, and then everybody had a private one. Yeah, my mom was, the last year or two she was alive, I'd go home and she was having a fit over her phone bill. Her home phone, because she was being charged by the minute for every call that was being made from her phone. And she had other people making calls from her phone. And she was ending up having to pay the bill, and that was not right. And I'm not going to say names or anything, but I know who they were. And I told her, I said, Mom, you need a cell phone. You need an unlimited plan like I've got. That way you pay $40 a month and can call as much as you want. You can keep your phone in your pocket and nobody else can run your bill up. She never did get a cell phone. She always used the home phone. And back then, or, it was like 8 years ago, she didn't have the option to get an unlimited home phone plan. You're always charged by the call or by the minute, where you called, that type of thing. And there's Joshua. What took you so long? We've been on here for over an hour and you're just showing up. Oh, I saw some of those videos where you had thousands of, what do you call them? Oh, heck, I can't. Drones. Thousands and thousands of drones. How they formed figures in the sky. It was beautiful, Joshua. One of them, when the video first started, all these thousands and thousands of drones started flying up in the sky, and it looked like stars flying around. And then they formed a pattern, and they looked like a big eagle standing there. And then they burst open into fireworks, and it was just all the drones moving around. It was awesome. Yeah, my dad never got a cell phone. My mom never got one. They always used the house phone. But when my dad was alive, she didn't have the problem with other people charging all these long distance calls to her phone. I mean, all they had to do was pick the phone up, make a long distance call, and she was being charged. It was her phone, her number. And then they never offered to pay any of them. And my poor mom was like everybody else. She was living on Social Security retirement. And she didn't have that much income, I don't know what she got from my dad's military. It may have been Disney. I don't know, Joshua. I just started watching these videos, and all of a sudden, all these drones shot up in the air, and they looked like little stars because there were little lights flying around. And then they changed colors, and then they made patterns. They made an American flag one time that was awesome. They made the eagle, like I said, one time, and then the eagle went into fireworks. They started bursting around, flying around like fireworks going off. They had several different ones, different patterns on the different videos, but they were pretty good. I didn't realize when I first started watching one of them that it was drones. I thought it was like real fireworks and stuff being shot up, but it was drones with lights. I know my mom wouldn't have believed all of it either, I could be riding down the highway in my car, and if my phone was in the car, if I had a call coming through, it would come through my car, and I could actually push a button on the steering wheel, and answer my phone call and talk through the car speaker and not have to hold on to a cell phone. What's the name of it? I don't know. I don't remember what the name of it was, Joshua. But there was 4 or 5 different ones of those videos that I came across, and they all did different patterns. But that's all they showed was the drones flying and making the patterns. So I don't know if it was connected to a parade or anything. I don't know what it was. And I don't know the name on the video. You had those drones in your Christmas parade last year? Well, I couldn't believe it was drones making those patterns up in the sky. They were awesome. That big eagle, oh my God. And I thought it was real fireworks going off, but it was the drones flying, just all of a sudden burst in different directions and making it look like fireworks. Teresa Jones just now coming in. Yeah, and I put you in as a moderator, but like I told everybody else, when I typed the names of all of you that said you wanted to be moderators, I had a whole list of Teresa Jones coming up. I didn't know which one was you. They were all identical. So I clicked on the first one, but evidently it wasn't you because your name is not lit up. I'm going to have to sign in just to get you in as a moderator now. But I'll do it real quick. Maybe YouTube won't penalize me for doing it. Because I can't do it on my camera. There, the next time you come up, your name should be in blue, Teresa. And that shows that you're a moderator. Let's see, I had Jana down, Rodney, Teresa, and Kimberly. And see, I had to add Kimberly the same way because she wasn't in when she came in tonight. I had to go in and add her again. So if any of the other ones come in, I can go in and manually add them. Oh. I got to sign out. Because YouTube will get mad at me if I'm filming on my camera and I'm signed in on the camera and then I'm signed in over here too watching the live chat. I need to go live from my laptop is what I need to do. And I don't know, maybe I don't have the camera set exactly the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. But it does not have a good picture on it. That's the only reason I haven't been going live on the laptop, because I can actually read the chat on the laptop. It comes on the camera, but then it disappears before you get a chance to read it. It fades in and out, so you can't read it and keep up with it. Yeah, see, you're in now, Teresa. Yep, you're blue now. You've been beat black and blue. Now you can beat up on those trolls that come in. You can put them in timeout or hide them from the channel or whatever. Yeah, it's got to be 1,500 drones or more. There was a lot of drones there, Joshua. I know my brother from Tucson called me one Sunday, I think it was, and I was on my way to my son's house. I was about halfway there, and I answered the phone, and he said, well, what have you been up to? And I said, well, I'm on my way to Chad's house right now, but it'll take me a while to get there. And he said, well, I'll hang up. You don't need to be on the phone while you're in the car. I said, no, it's okay. I said, my phone is coming through my car, so I'm talking to you on the car speaker. I'm not having to hold a phone or anything. So I said, I can stay on there and talk to you for a little bit. So I did. But that was just one of the little features that came with my car when I bought it. I wasn't looking for a car with phone service on it. It just happened to have it on there, which I'm glad it does, but it's a nice thing to have, you know, because you don't need to be holding a cell phone and driving, that's for sure. And I never do. Before I had this car, if I had a call come through on my cell phone and I was driving, if it was a call that I really needed to take, I'd pull over. And then I'd take the call, and then I'd get back on the road after I was finished with the call. I would not drive holding that phone. Yeah, it blew my mind. Every one of the names I put in, Jana's, Rodney's, Teresa, and Kimberly, I typed in every name just like it was typed on your name in when you come into live chat to put you in as a moderator, and a whole list come up. Different pictures but the same name. And I said, oh my God, I don't know which one is which. And I didn't remember what your picture looked like. I see now it's there's something blue in that little round circle. I don't know what it is. It's kind of small. Yeah, probably we'll be like the Flintstones. We'll have flying cars. Okay, Joshua, I'll do that. Wrote your name down so I'll know exactly how to type it in, because I had forgot. The Jetsons, oh yeah, it was the Jetsons that have the flying car. But you know, that's coming. They've already said it is, because they've got the, what is it, the hover cars. They raise up and they're about 3 or 4 feet off the pavement, so they can travel and go anywhere they want along the highway. They're just not touching the highway. They're hovering over the highway. Oh, I said, well, that would save the wear and tear on car, on the pavement anyway. They need to do the concrete trucks and big heavy equipment trucks like that. Turn them into hover trucks so they don't ruin the pavement of the highways. I don't know what it is either. It's something blue. And there's no way that I can enlarge that to look to see. It's something on your channel. It's your profile picture is what it is, but it's blue with something white in the center. It looks like a keyboard in front, a white keyboard, from what I can see. Yeah, it's against the law here too now. Anybody seen will be fined. They'll stop and get a ticket. Be stopped and get a ticket. Kimberly said, well, I'm not getting into a flying car. I won't even fly in an airplane. We'll all have to have pilot license in the future to fly our cars around. Maybe they'll be limited to how high they'll go, though. They might be like the hover cars, where they'll only be like several feet off of the pavement, but you still travel along the pavement as a guideline. Teresa, if you don't know what that picture on your profile is, I sure don't know. I'm going to have to go to your site and see your profile picture enlarged to be able to see what it is. And Janet's not here tonight. She hasn't showed up. I figured since I had planned it, scheduled it, that a lot more people might be able to show up. I've got to pick my cayenne peppers outside, and I got to put them in a pot, and I got to make me some more hot pepper spray, because my pepper spray that I had in the shed to spray stuff with, it got too hot and the jug split. So I poured what little bit was left in the bottom of it in those hot pepper plants that the bugs were eating, and it run the bugs off, because now the plants are finally starting to grow. So I need to make some more and spray some more of my plants, and more of my little bell pepper transplants that I need to transplant pretty soon, so the bugs don't eat them. But that means I got to go. I've got 3 or 4 cayenne pepper plants, and they are loaded down with peppers. Some of them are still green, but the first plant that I planted out here, it looks like a Christmas tree of cayenne peppers, because every pepper on there has turned red. And it's hanging like an icicle, but they're red peppers. And there's Pippintine. She says hi for her and MT. Hello, Pippintine. Tell MT I said hi. The last time he came into Alive, he was in somewhere else, I guess, driving his truck. He wasn't home. I got to refresh this screen because the chat always freezes on it. And I got Fred J 32. How's life going on a 1 to 10 scale? It's going pretty good, probably about an 8 or 9. It's just hot. I mean, it's hotter than blazes in Texas. My car thermometer said it was 106 when I went to Home Depot today. Oh, he's over in my neck of the woods today? My only child tomato plant is growing. No tomatoes yet. Been shaking. Well, depending on what the temperature is where you're at, Teresa, when it gets extremely hot like this, they'll quit producing for a little bit till it cools off. So if it's hot like where you're at, like it is here in Texas, that may have something to do with your tomatoes not producing. But just shake them every once in a while. Pretty soon you should have tomatoes on there. Been shaking and talking to your plant, and your neighbors love it. Halo Guy 808. Hello, man. I've not been in a lot. I know you haven't been here forever. Much aloha and love sent your way. It's absolutely hot today. 91, is that all? My thermometer in my car hit 106 going to Home Depot. I wish it would rain here. We need some rain to cool things off a little bit. We've had triple digits now for a week or more, and still another week to come of it. 100 there today, Teresa. Oh wow. It'll have tomatoes. Just bear with it. I mean, it's got to have time. Thank you, hello guy. Hello guy. It's storming where Fred is. Well, I don't care if it storms or not, but I wish it would come a good rain shower. Okay, I'll check it out, Joshua. He's eating a sandwich right now with homegrown maters and banana peppers. He's watching but busy. Well, we'll let him slide, Pippintine. No, I'm not scared in my trailer when it storms. I kind of get weary if I know a tornado's close, or if it's hailing and the hailstorms, the hail are very big. Because there was one year in Dallas, they had a hailstorm and those hail balls were as big as a softball. I mean, they literally had hail coming through the roof of houses up there. I mean, brick homes. And hail balls, the biggest of a softball, were in their living room, on their living room floor. I moved and transplanted and it didn't go well. Oh no. Did you finally get moved? I know you were talking about moving. And there's Joan Sills. Hello, Joan. How's the little ones? Hello, guy. Hello, guy. I know you got I know you got your hands full with those little ones you've got. The long beans you sent me died. They getting enough water? They don't like hot sun. I've had to put shade cloth up over mine to keep the sun from burning the plants up. You moved and transplanted them and they didn't go well. Yeah, they don't do too well being transplanted. It's best just to plant them wherever you're at from seed. Now I'm growing orchids. Oh, wow. Olga's in the house. Good to see you, Olga Lopez. You live in Raleigh. Well, have you ever been to the East Coast around Wilmington, Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach? That's my stomping ground. I'm from a little town just outside of Wilmington called Atkinson. It's about 20 miles inland from Wilmington. I don't think I've ever been to Raleigh. My mom and dad have at times, but I've never been to Raleigh. Pretty good ways from where I used to live. You just made Dirty Dr. Pepper. Have y'all had one? I don't know what a Dirty Dr. Pepper is. What is a Dirty Dr. Pepper, Teresa? How do you make a Dirty Dr. Pepper? Is it anything like an ice cream float or something? Oh, really? Ice and sweet creamer? Put it in your Dr. Pepper? Huh. Like coffee creamer? I'd have to buy a Dr. Pepper, I guess, and try it. Joan said, oh, yes. Hmm. Pippintine likes cream and coconut syrup in Diet Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper. Huh. I'm going to have to try that, Teresa. It probably tastes almost like an ice cream float, wouldn't it? You put the creamer in there. I'm going to have to try that just because you told me about it. But I got to go buy me a Dr. Pepper. It does give vibes of a float. It's kind of like putting a couple of spoonfuls of vanilla ice cream or something in your Dr. Pepper and let it melt and then stir it up to where it's not ice cream anymore. It's just cream in the Dr. Pepper. Just enough to flavor your Dr. Pepper with the ice cream. No, I'm going to have to do that. Next time I go to the store, I have to buy me a Dr. Pepper. Put me some coffee creamer in it. What flavor coffee creamer do you put in yours, Teresa? Oh, really? McDonald's sells dirty Dr. Pepper. I didn't know that. My first car was a 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air. I was 19 years old, and I was working for this guy that owned and operated a 421 truck stop and restaurant. I worked for him in the restaurant part. My dad worked for him rebuilding the apartment above the restaurant where he lived. And he also rebuilt and refurbished cars. And he had just refurbished two cars. He'd done a 56 Chevrolet and he did a 56 Ford. And I went out there one day and my dad and my boss walked me out there where the cars were. And they said, there's two cars there. Which one would you want? They had a black 56 Ford, which was a pretty car because it had a brand new paint job, brand new interior, brand new carpet, brand new everything. Run like a dream. And then they had this 56 Chevrolet Bel Air. Brand new paint job, brand new interior, brand new carpet, brand new everything. It looked brand new. I picked the 56 Chevrolet. And my dad said, well, it's yours. I said, you're kidding me. He said, yeah, you only owe $400 on it. And you're getting a deal because you work for the guy and I work for him. So I was at a loss of words. $400 for this, what looked like a brand new car. And it was back then. Oh, let's see, what year was it? It was probably 1969, something like that. At that time. Or maybe it wasn't quite, might have been 66 or 67, somewhere along in there. So the car was at least already 10 years old. But he'd refurbish the cars. They looked brand new. And then he was reselling them. And he knew I didn't have a way to drive to work. You know, I had to rely on either going to work with my dad or somebody taking me. So I ended up with that car, and I loved that car. It was automatic transmission. It drove and run like a dream. I loved the car. And it was rolling pleated seat covers, interior, rolling pleated on the door panels, burgundy inside with black carpet. The outside was burgundy. It was a beautiful car. And then I drove it for about a year or so. I ended up, me and my first husband got back together. So I got rid of the car. I sold it to my younger brother. And when I sold it to my younger brother, my dad painted a Roadrunner bird going across the back of the trunk lid. And I said, well, I wish he'd have painted it on there when I had the car. But my brother probably asked him to do it. And I didn't think to ask him. But me and my first husband, we had a real low income. You know, I didn't work at the time. He didn't like for me to work. I was going to stay home with my daughter. And we couldn't afford the insurance and upkeep on 2 cars. So I went ahead and sold that 1 car to my brother. And we just used my husband's car at the time. And I think his was a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. And it was an aqua and white color. Beautiful car. But he was one of these that he traded cars every couple of years. And he ended up with a 69 Chevelle Super Sport. It was red with a black stripe down the top and the hood. Dual exhaust, glass packs. It was loud. 4-speed transmission, stick shift. And I'll tell you what, when you started that engine up, everybody could hear it. And I drove it to work because after that I started working in Elizabethtown, which is a town that was on the other side of where my hometown was. Where we lived was kind of in the middle. Like we were here, my hometown was here, where I worked in Elizabethtown was up here. And the boss came out to the parking lot one day when everybody got ready to leave. And I was wondering why he was out in the parking lot. Well, I got in the car and started it up, and he walked over toward me. And he was laughing. He said, so this is your car? I said, well, yeah, mine and my husband's car. He said, I've been hearing this car going across that bridge. And he said, once you hit that bridge going out of town, the car gets louder. And he said, I was bound and determined I was going to find out whose car was that loud going across that bridge. And he said, it's your car. Because when you started that thing up, all you heard was those glass packs sounding off. You know, just rumbling with that engine running. And my husband loved that kind of stuff. He loved to listen to that car like that. He just loved souped up, hot rod looking cars, and he loved that Chevelle. And I said, well, yeah, I'm guilty. It's my car too, I guess. I said, I've been driving it to work because that's the only car we had. And he just laughed. He said, well, I'm been standing here. I'll hear you when you go across that bridge. And he said, I'll know who it is this time. Well, I didn't know that it got louder when it hit that concrete bridge, but it did. He said it just echoed louder. Your first car was a 76? No, you're 70. I'm 76, and my first car was a 1957 Chevrolet Carolina Blue. I bet that was pretty. The 56s and the 55s were pretty cars. They were kind of boxy the way they were shaped, but they were still pretty cars. The 1957 Chevrolet that we had was the aqua color, and it had the silver fins at the back on each side, which just made the car look classy, you know. He said, oh my God, I forgot. Well, we don't have a McDonald's on this side of town anymore, and I don't drive all the way across town and out the other side to go to McDonald's now. I'm waiting for them to put the McDonald's on this side of town that they're supposed to be building. They said it's behind Racetrack, which I go by Racetrack going into town, but I don't see any construction going on behind it. I guess I need to turn down that street and go on down past it and see if there's any construction going on down past it anywhere. But there's none behind the actual store that I've seen. Oh, really? You got another... Oh, I got choked up on that one, hello, guy. You got another little one on the way, huh? This will be the third child today. We found out the gender. What is the gender? Drum roll! You got two little boys right now, don't you? Halo guy. Aren't the two you got little boys? I think you said they were little boys. And this one's got to be a girl. Am I wrong? Sonic sells dirty Dr. Peppers too. Well, I'm going to have to try those out. Or either go buy me a Dr. Pepper and put creamer in it and see how it tastes. I think my chat has frozen again. Yeah, Elizabethtown, North Carolina. At different times, I worked in several different manufacturing plants up there. And at that time, I was working at a manufacturing plant. That's when the manager come out in the parking lot, and he waited till all the cars started leaving because he wanted to see who had the car that was so loud. And it was me. I told him it was my husband's toy. Because Ray, my first husband, he loved souped up cars. Anything that was loud, souped up, and looked sporty, he loved it. I thought you said you had two boys. You got two boys praying every damn day. I got my baby girl. And you, okay, way to go. You're getting a little girl. What do those little boys think about having a little sister? Or do they realize they're going to have a little sister yet? Yeah, congratulations, Halo guy. Hello-y guy. I know I don't say that right, but... Yeah, close to White Lake. White Lake is about 20 miles from my hometown, and where we lived when I was married was halfway in between White Lake and my hometown, halfway in between. It only took about 15 minutes to get from my house to White Lake, which is so commercialized right now, it's unreal. I bet you couldn't put your foot in the water. He's so excited. He keeps saying, I can't wait to see my sister. Can't wait for my sister. It melts a little hard. Can't wait. Oh, that's sweet. Well, how do you like your place since you moved? Do you like the place you moved into? Was it better than where you were before? Now, he's got two little boys, I think. He had 2 little boys, and this third one's going to be a girl. He just never likes to show them on camera, and I don't blame him. He doesn't want to publicize his little babies, and I don't blame him. He wants to keep his babies safe. You have a camper at White Lake? Oh, wow. Well, years ago when I was a kid, we went to White Lake quite often. My granddad worked in the bathhouse up there where you could rent bathing suits, you could rent baskets or lockers to put your clothes in when you wanted to go swimming. Anything that you didn't want to take out on the lake with you, you put in that locker. And he worked there in the summer. That's when he got older, because he rented out the farm for people to farm it, and he made money off the farm, and then he worked at White Lake in the summer. And we'd go up there all the time. But back then, the parking lots were free. You could go up there any day, pull in that parking lot, park for free, go swimming for free if you had your own bathing suit. And if you brought sandwiches with you, you didn't have to pay for food. I mean, you might want to pay for drinks or something, or you might want to pay to go on the rides, or a candy apple, or some cotton candy. But other than that, it was a free day at the lake. I had an uncle that ran I had an Uncle Steve that ran a speedboat out there. He would take people on cruises of the lake. You know, they bought tickets to get on the ride, and he'd take them out in the boat. And he'd take us out quite often when we were over there, and it was fun. But now, oh my God, the last time I drove by there, I just wanted to see how it was. You could not even see the water from the street. Everything is so commercialized. Everything is geared up to make money. The parking lots are fenced in from the street back. You pay to enter the parking lots. Everything you pay for. And I was disappointed. I said, oh man, they have ruined our lake. Pay for drink for Surrey. For sure, yeah. But years ago, we'd go there with my grandmother. You know, my aunt would drive my grandmother up there, and I'd go with them, and I'd put my bathing suit on at my grandmother's, and we'd get out of the car, and my grandmother would go to the bathhouse where my granddad was working to see him or take him some food, and I'd run out there and get in the water. Now you can't do that. You can't even get in the parking lot without paying. And you can't see past the parking lot. You cannot see the lake anymore. Used to, you could look through the trees, what few trees were there, and you could see the White Lake. You could see the pier. You can't see any of that now. Oh, I can imagine rent's ridiculous up there. I would hate to know what you'd have to pay up there to rent a room for the night, or rent a bungalow for the week or something. Oh my God. No, nothing's free anymore, Joanne. And it was so different when I was growing up. We loved going to the lake. I can't see how anybody'd love going up there now. It's just too commercialized, too crowded, too much going on. It's wild, but the mortgage on 12,000 square foot would be $6,000 a month. Oh, wow. There's no way I could afford that. The rent's out of sight in Kentucky. Thank God I don't have to pay it. No, Hawaii, the main islands, they're where people are making their money. I was told by somebody that was born and raised in Hawaii, but he was born on one of the smaller islands. And he told me, he said, if you ever decide to go to Hawaii, he said, don't go and book hotels on those big islands. He said, they charge you like crazy. And he said, everything is commercialized. You don't see how the actual Hawaiian natives lived or live. He said, if you go out on the smaller islands that are not all commercialized, he said, you can stay there practically for nothing. Y'all, I've been in the garden today, so I'm coughing when I talk. But he said you could go stay for a week or two on the islands for real cheap. But not on the big islands. That's where all the tourists are. And he said on the smaller islands, you get in. If I can quit coughing, I'll talk. And he said on the smaller islands, you get on the real luau's, the way the real Hawaiian people did the luau, not the way the commercialized ones are. He said they're a lot different. But I told him, I said, I'll probably never have to worry about that because I'll never be able to go to Hawaii. My daughter went to Hawaii for a week with her husband, and he said, Mom, she said it was so beautiful there. But they were on, I don't know, Honolulu or one of the big islands. I don't remember which. But she said it was so beautiful. It's a minimum $400 a night next to the worst places, up to $5,000 a night in the best. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, my daughter had hurt her neck just before they flew, and she didn't even feel the pain till she got on the plane. And they ordered some kind of mixed drink. And she said she started to relax, and all of a sudden she felt a shot of pain coming down her neck and shoulder. And she ended up having to go to the doctor in Hawaii. She had a ruptured disc in her neck that she didn't even know she had. She said, Mom, I would have had a fantastic job if it hadn't been for that. Or I had a fantastic vacation that week if it hadn't been for being in pain most of the time. The luau, the fake ones are a joke. They set up on grass field and you pulled pork and stay welcome to Hawaii. Yeah, that's what he told me. He said they don't do the real luau's, not like the native Hawaiian people do. He said you got to go out on those smaller islands where the tourists don't go to really see Hawaii and to see the luau's and all that. And I told him I'd keep it in mind, but I said I'd probably never get the chance to go. Well, I'm glad you caught me live too, Joan. I remember the time I think it was my mom's 86th birthday. And my brother Mike asked my mom, what did she want for her birthday? You know, they were going to do a cookout or something for her, and they didn't know what she really wanted. And she said, I want a Hawaiian luau. So they decorated their backyard with those hanging lantern things, and he had a trailer with a barbecue pit thing on it that he slow cooked a hog overnight, or a half of a hog overnight. And he had pineapple and stuff on it, which I don't really like the pulled pork with pineapple and stuff. I like it the old-fashioned way, the way the country folk always fix it. Just roast it and mix a vinegar and herb, um, like dressing to go on it. I love pulled pork that way, but when you mix it with pineapple and all this other stuff, it just does something to the taste of it that I didn't like. He said, well, that's what everybody said that's been eating it. They said they'd rather have the regular pork, not the one with pineapple in it. But he said Mom wanted a Hawaiian luau, so I figured I'd do the pork just like they did in Hawaii. So he said that's why I did it. It was still good. It just wasn't what we expected when you say pulled pork, roasted on a pit. Well, we've been on here 2 hours. I got quite a few people in here that showed up tonight that I'm glad finally come in the tail end of the live, but I don't want to keep everybody all night. I think that's awesome. She got what yeah, that's what he was trying to do. He knew she wasn't well. She wasn't going to be here long. And he wanted to give her what she wanted for her birthday. So he did. A Hawaiian luau. Flowers and all. Hanging lanterns. She was happy with it. She liked it. Well, you know, New York is not easy living either. It's outrageously expensive to live in New York City. I messaged my son the other day. I said, do you realize if you were to move to New York City today, you couldn't afford the house you're living in right now, because the house you have with 12 acres of property would probably cost you $1.5 million up there if you could get it that cheap. I know they told one time that Oprah Winfrey has a Manhattan loft apartment. And I saw the video the day that she was showing people her apartment. And she told everybody how much it cost. That apartment cost her $1 million. Because up there you like buy your apartment like you buy a house. And you actually own that apartment in that building. You don't own the whole building. You just own that apartment. And she owned that loft apartment for $1 million. But you know, it's the location of where it is that it was so expensive. Because when she showed it, it wasn't anything special. It was just an apartment, a big apartment, a loft apartment. To me, it didn't look that good. It didn't look that expensive or anything. It's just where it was. Location is everything. And you're downtown Manhattan and you have an apartment that big, a loft apartment, it's going to cost. But she had the money to pay for it. Kentucky has a low cost of living compared to some states. Well, you know, they always say, I've been hearing everywhere that retired people, the best state for retired people to go to live is Texas. I don't know why. I think it costs like the dickens to live here. I was a travel nurse in New York City. The apartment was over $5,000 a month. Good thing the agency, yeah. If the agency's going to pay for it, you don't care how much it costs. If I rented my house and it was in New York City or up there, anywhere up there, with 3 lots to it for a yard, and my house, as old as it is, I could probably get $3,000 or $4,000 for this place in New York a month. Because up there you can rent a closet for $2,000 a month, especially if you're in downtown Manhattan. I mean, I saw how they showed some apartments that these young people were living in because they wanted to be downtown Manhattan where everything's going on, where their job was and everything. They didn't want to travel from way out of New York City into the city to go to work. And they were showing these small apartments. I mean, they showed this one girl's apartment. She could put her hands out like this and touch the wall on each side of her apartment. Her apartment was like living in a long hallway, but she could literally reach her arms out like that and with her fingers touch the wall on each side. And that gave her room for a bed, a small cot for a bed. It gave her a little kitchen area, gave her a little seating area, and gave her a bathroom, a tiny, tiny bathroom with a shower. For about $2,000 a month for just a little bitty tiny walk-in closet. But it's, like I said, it's the location you're paying for. I mean, anything bigger than that was $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. I never asked my brother what they were paying because they were in one of the buildings in Brooklyn where you do actually buy your apartment, but you still pay like a maintenance fee every month. And that's for the upkeep of the building and the grounds because you don't have to get out there and mow. If something breaks in the apartment or breaks in the building, you don't have to pay for it to be fixed. It's not your headache. It's the apartment building owner or the company that owns and runs the place. It's their problem to get it all fixed. So you actually buy your apartment like you're buying a house, and then you pay that maintenance fee every month. And that's where my brother lived for many years in Brooklyn, New York. I don't remember what floor he lived on. It was not a ground floor. It was several stories up. The town I live in won't allow trailers or tents in the city limits. They don't allow them out here either. You can't put a tent up in the city limits in Granbury. You don't put a trailer up in the city limits of Granbury. To my knowledge, they used to have a small, like, campground trailer type hookup beside Stumpy's, that marina restaurant that I've showed in my videos here a while back. Because some friends of mine that came here to work with Comanche Peak, they lived in one of those little travel trailers, small enough you could pull behind your car or your truck. They parked it in there because that was the only place they could put it with hookups. But that wasn't in the city limits. That was just outside the city limit. But they don't even allow that anymore. They closed that down, and I guess they took all the hookups and stuff out because they don't allow anybody in there anymore to camp or anything. Because they stayed there and lived in their little camper trailer the whole time her husband worked at Comanche Peak. The only place you can put mobile homes is on private property if you're outside of town, or in a mobile home park if you can find one outside of town, which you don't even see those here. Or in a subdivision like I live in, where people have bought lots and they were allowed to put a mobile home in a certain size. Now you cannot put a mobile home here. It's got to be a manufactured home, which is basically a glorified mobile home because, they deliver it in sections and put it together. And then your house has got to be, they had it at 1,200 square feet at one time, but they've lowered it again. the house cannot be any smaller than 850 square feet, which my place I live in is, I think, 830 square feet. So I'm just under that. So the only way I could replace my house this size is if it was to burn down. If it was to burn down, I could replace it with one this size or larger. I could not go any smaller. But I've only got like 90 days, 3 months to do that. Other than that, it's got to be at least 850 square feet. And it's got to be like a manufactured home or a site-built home. Because everybody's building homes out here now. I was deaf, a country mouse in the big city. They don't allow them here either, Kimberly. You will not see Tent City in Granbury. You will not see homeless sleeping on the sidewalk. You very seldom see anybody standing out holding a sign or taking up money, because they can be arrested for doing that. So if they don't arrest them, they go up to them and warn them, you got to disperse, you got to leave, you can't do this, it's illegal. You'll either leave, quit doing it, or you go to jail. So you don't see them here. Now in the big city like Fort Worth, you'll see homeless people up there. But not here. They'd rather you get hooked up with a church, with, what is it? There's organizations they can get with that will help them with housing, get them located with either a habitat home or some type of housing or some kind of help, that they don't live on the street here. If they want to live on the street, they got to go somewhere else. Yep, that was a studio apartment, and it wasn't in Manhattan. It was Queens. Wow. Yeah, somebody told me, asked me one time in chat or something, maybe in a comment, or maybe in a live, I don't remember, the times that I do cooking videos and I have a lot of food left over. Why don't I go feed the homeless people that don't have any food? I said, there's no homeless here. There's nowhere to go to feed homeless people. There's none here. We used to have a couple that lived here in Comanche Harbor, where I live. That was when the swimming pool was down here. They had a fenced-in area where the pool was. They had bathrooms and showers down there. And they'd get over the fence. They'd go in and use the showers. They had water. And they'd sleep under the canopy on the concrete at night until they were caught. And then they were told they couldn't do that anymore, so they had to leave. And then I think they took up at someone's house or vacant house or something, I don't know. But they were caught there and asked to leave. So it's been years since I've seen them. The last few times I saw them, they were thumbing for a ride on the highway out there. They weren't in here. But the guy, it was a young couple. The guy said that the Lord told him, he lived in Florida, that's where they were from. And he said the Lord told him to walk to Texas. That's what brought him here. He said him and her walked from Florida to Texas. And I guess hitching rides all the way. I don't know, that sounds kind of strange to me. But oh well, you know, there's all kind of people in the world. A lot of people in different areas do different things. They live different ways. Like some people tried to take up in the parks because they had overnight camping. You know, and these free, we got 2 state parks in this county. One is just a couple of minutes from me where I go fishing all the time. And then there's one on the other side of town going out. But there's a 2-week limit. You can go in there and pitch a tent and stay there for 2 weeks. You can go in and sleep in a camper for 2 weeks. But there's no water hookups. There's no restroom hookups. There is a bathroom there. So you can go to the restroom, but there's no showers. So if you can't, you got to either swim in the lake to get clean, or you got to have your own shower in your camper or whatever you're staying in. And we had actual people. In fact, I know too a brother and a sister that were camping out there, and they told me that they were living with their mother. Their mother died, and I guess the house wasn't owned by their mother or whatever, so they had to leave the house. They didn't have the house to live in anymore. They didn't have anywhere to go. They didn't have the money to rent a place. So they took what little bit of money, I think, they got from whatever their parent left them. The girl bought a car. The guy bought, I don't know what they call it. It's like a canoe, but it's not a canoe. It's one of those like covered type little boats that the only opening there is what you get in to sit in. What do they call those? Some kind of a canoe. I don't know. He got one of them. They both pitched tents up out there, and they were staying. They were living at the lake in the state park until they got caught. And they were told that they had a 2-week limit to camp out in the park, and after that they couldn't stay there, so they had to leave. And then they were saying, well, we can go to the other one on the other side of town. And he said, no, you can't. You've already overstayed your 2 weeks in the campground. That one over there is a state park too, so you can't stay there for 2 more weeks. He said the only place you could go to stay now is somewhere in another state. You've already overstayed your 2 weeks in this state. So I don't kayak, that's what it was. Thank you, Kimberly. And I thought he bought it. He said he bought it, but come to find out that he stole it at Walmart. Don't ask me how. I don't know how in the world he stole it, unless his sister went with him and somehow he put the kayak on her car that she bought with the money that her mom left. Because she figured she needed transportation, whether she needed a roof over her head, because if she didn't have transportation, she'd never be able to go to work or do anything or go anywhere. So she bought a car. And they ended up with 2 tents, one for each of them. And now they've got signs up at the state park where I fish. You can't even fish at night. The campground is actually closed after dark. When used to it was open 24/7. You could fish out there all night if you wanted to, but they got signs up saying beware of the snakes. The snakes got really bad. I was out there fishing one day off the sidewalk there at the state park, and I caught a snake. And there was a couple fishing beside me, and the guy, when I reeled the snake in and he saw what it was, he just reached out there and got my line, and he put his foot down on the snake, and he got him off my hook. He cut his head off, threw his head away, and his kids were playing with the snake. And it was a poisonous snake, y'all. But I mean, he couldn't bite him or anything anymore because he threw the head away. But still, I wouldn't be playing with that snake. And he looked at me and he said, now what would you have done if I hadn't have been here? I said, I'd have simply cut my line. And I said, that snake could have swam away with hook, line, sinker, and everything. Because I wouldn't touch him. I was not going to mess with that snake. I don't care what kind of snake it is. I'm not messing with it. I'll cut my line and let him swim away. He can have the hook. He can keep the hook. I got plenty of hooks. I can replace the hook. The police will take people here to the next county. Well, I don't know what they did, but they told them, the park rangers and everybody told them that they couldn't stay there anymore because they'd already stayed past the 2-week limit. And I don't know if one of the rangers saw them, because we have lake rangers riding around in their boats all the time. I don't know if some of them saw them or one of the rangers that came through the park saw them and realized that they were staying there longer than really what they should have. Or if maybe somebody turned them in. I don't know. Wasn't me. But they were asked to leave and told they couldn't come back. But after I found out later that, because his sister told me that he stole that kayak from Walmart, I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm so glad they can't come back here anymore, because that was one of my favorite fishing places. And I didn't want to be out there with people that steal stuff and get me involved in any of it. I'm not going to steal anything. And I don't want to even be friends with somebody that's doing something like that, because just association could get you in trouble sometimes. Well, guys, we've been on here for 2.5 hours, and I know I still got 39 people in here with 30 thumbs up, thank goodness. But I guess we should end this live and let y'all get some sleep. Kimberly says, I remember when they asked you that on a live. Yeah, we don't have homeless to feed. I mean, you don't go down the street under a bridge and there's a whole bunch of homeless people, because that don't happen here. They'd have to be under the 377 overpass. That'd be the only place under a bridge they could get. And I guarantee you, they wouldn't be there any longer than someone saw them, and they'd end up in jail or the county or something. And I feel for homeless people, don't get me wrong. Some of them can't help the situation they're in. Others can. And I mentioned it to my mom one time when I was small growing up, because I saw them in New York, how they sleep on the sidewalks, sleep on the staircases. And I mean, you've not seen homeless like you've seen in New York, especially under the train trestle, where they're kind of semi-covered. And my mom's reply to me was, well, you can't feel sorry for them. She said, there's true that some of them can't help the situation they're in, and they'd love to get out of it. But she said there's other homeless, a lot of the homeless, that's what they choose to do, because they don't want the responsibility of paying rent or utilities every month. Even though they maybe get a Social Security check or they get a VA check every month. They'd rather live on the street so they have no responsibility except to stay warm and dry and fed. And they do that without responsibility of rent every month and, stuff like that. I mean, I don't understand it. I would not want to live out in the street. Who wants to live out in 105 or 106 degree temperatures in the daytime and not much cooler at night? Who wants to be out there in freezing cold temperatures in the wintertime when you got ice on the ground, it's snowing or sleeting or snow, it's freezing cold? I wouldn't want to be out there. There's no way. Let you know how I end up with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm going to check it out, Christina. I'll check it out and see what I can find out about it. And then I can decide. But yeah, we've been on here for 2.5 hours already. I don't want to keep y'all any longer. It's getting late. See what time? It's 10:30 here already. And I know it's 11:30 where some of you are. It may be only 7:30 where some of you are, like in Hawaii. It's early there, but not here. So, hello, guy. I'm glad you could come in. It was good to see you. Congratulations on the new little baby girl on the way. The rest of you, I want to tell you, I love it. Love all of you. I appreciate the fact that you come into the live tonight, and I appreciate you being here. So y'all sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Stay cool, and I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all, and bye.